In this video, I am going to give you the secrets to how to build a six-figure business that works while you sleep, whilst being your authentic you, and low-key while you travel and be remote and live your best life. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Luke Anning. I help dating and relationship coaches start, grow, and travel. I have a top 2% podcast called The Happy Positive Energy Game. We're hitting it off here on YouTube, coming and giving you guys a ton of value. So if you're here because you're like, hey, I want to build a business, but I also want to be authentic, but I also want to make sure that it works, then this is going to be the video for you. So by the end of this video, we're going to kind of break down 3 pillars that I think are crucial to getting all of this to work, and whilst remaining authentic like me, like all of my content. So with that said, let's get into this video. Let's do it. So first thing that I wanted to break down is a little bit about the importance of systems. This is actually going to be point 2, so we'll get there. We'll get there. So first thing is, if you are smart with your business, you build systems. If you're not, you build whatever feels right. Now, if we look at this legend, I've referred to him in another video of mine, but this is, I think it's Joseph Bazalgette. He is the master engineer who is behind the Victorian sewer system. And what Joseph realized was, what the entirety of London realized was, during the Great Stink, which is basically an epidemic of cholera across London, they needed to work out what they were doing with the sewer system. And the problem was that there wasn't really a solid system in place. We're talking late 1800s here. It wasn't really a solid place at the time. It wasn't really something of consideration, but oftentimes in your journey, the world situation, something big has to happen in order for that to change. So that might be your 9-to-5 absolutely sucks, or you're like, no, I really want to travel the world, or you're like, no, look, I really want to help people. In this case, it was yo, we've got all this shit everywhere. And basically, he figured out that you needed to have few points on the River Thames for effective drainage and effective processing of the sewering. So what they did over the next year or so, a few years, is they built out this sewer system here. So you can actually see this is an old map that I found for you guys. This is Westminster, and we've got all of the tunnels and sewering systems here leading out and going to wherever they went to. But the importance here is, imagine if he was like, oh, this feels right, I'm going to do this. There would literally be shit everywhere. And this is what a lot of people's businesses look like, is they just look like a pile of shit. And I get it, because I was there as well. I just did what felt right. And the problem with that is that business does not care about your feelings. The business has its goals. And if you have goals, your goals require a certain amount of efforts. And I had to let go of the story myself as well, of where I was like, oh, I'm not good with systems. I'm not good with doing things in order. I like to go with the flow. I want to do what feels right. All of this was just limiting my capacity. And the thing is, if you're like me and you have a lot of energy to help people, that means that sometimes your energy can go in so many different places. So you have to really focus that energy and kind of reparent yourself. So I kind of reparented myself and let go of the fact that I didn't need systems. And in Joseph's case, where, he transformed the sewer system and they got rid of the cholera epidemic, I, for the same thing, built systems within my business so that everything could flow. So this is our lead generation mechanism of the Badass Coach Growth Funnel. So we run ads, we've got YouTube, we've got fire content, which goes into my VSL, which is a design video to nurture leads. And we then have content on Instagram and YouTube, you guys tuning into this now, and call to actions. So that is our system. So this is our lead generation system. Oh gosh, why do the I don't know about you guys, but why do the pens do this? All right, cool. So we've got the lead generation mechanism. I've got my lead nurturing system, which is content, and which is basically sales assets, lead nurturing system. And then we've got our sales mechanism, our A to Z sales process. And this is the problem, is that most people don't have this. And that is why they're struggling. They don't have a system. Like, you don't even need to be aligned energetically to allow a system to work while you sleep. This is the crazy thing. Like, you don't need to be aligned with your emotions. You don't need to feel good. You don't even need to think good. You could be crashing and burning your business from an energetic standpoint, but if you have an amazing system, when life is going crazy, your business still moves forward. Now, hands up, who would want that? Me. 100% me. Because I know for me, with ADHD, that my emotions can be quite wild sometimes. And I'm like getting better and I'm going through my own process with that. But again, I need a system. And again, with all of my energy, if you just give me a step-by-step of what I need to do, then I'm good to go. So that's what we do with our clients. It's like, hey, let's get this set up. Then we do the next step. Oh my gosh, these pens. Then we do the next step. Then we do the next step. So we go 1, 2, 3. And then we figure out 4 as we get clients. So I say figure it out, like it's already systemized. Yeah, so you need systems. That's the first thing that you need. So you need to have a system of what your business is doing. What's step 1, 2, 3, 4? And actually map it out. The next thing that you need to know in order to be more authentic, as well as build a multi-6-figure business while you sleep and travel and be remote, is how to be the authentic you. Because a lot of people in their journey watch people's content and then they just start picking up that person, right? And you've also come through your own transformation, your own journey. We hands up here who's been through their own journey. I have, certainly have. But you got to look at this as like every stage of you has, oh my gosh, these pens. You guys can just have a giggle. But every stage of your growth has been different. So we look at like when I was a fitness and mindset coach, I had certain skill sets, but I needed to become a different version of myself. So that meant that I actually low-key had to get a little inauthentic in order to become authentic. It's a little bit like the concept of fake it until you make it. But when I look at it, it's like, this is an imposter version of myself. The person in myself that was earning 10K a month as a fitness and mindset coach was completely different to the version of myself that was earning $1,000 at best dollars a month. So in order for me to go from A to B, I had to realize like, yo, there's some things that I need to work on. There's some skills I need to develop. So how to be authentic to you is oftentimes stepping outside of your comfort zone, is recognizing that you have character development to do, and that's okay. And then you want to look into the things that will actually do that, which is why the first thing that we do with our clients is building a neuro identity. So building everything from a vision to your time management, to your productivity, to your energy and attention management, to looking after your health, but condensed into super fast 2 hours of training. So yeah, it's key that you character develop. Now, the next thing with being your authentic you is recognizing that this version of yourself, maybe your earlier version of yourself, for me, it was a fitness and mindset coach, and then a confidence and mindset coach, and then a business confidence coach, was that the more I stepped into the version of me, the more people know, like, and trusted me. Now, think about this. If you just tuned into a page and it was just educational content, you may get a ton of value from it. But if you don't connect with their story, you don't understand like what trauma they went through, what challenges they went through, or what drives them, what their mission is, then people are going to connect with you. But I know a lot of people connect with me because I'm so passionate about helping people off the streets. I'm so passionate about it, I'm probably going to tear up. But the way I look at it is like, there is no way that there should be homeless people in first world countries. With the amount of money that's circulating, £13 billion wasted on unused PPE during COVID for homeless people. In the UK charity crisis, estimated that it would have been around 14 billion to eradicate UK homelessness at that time. So you take the already existing capital allocation for homeless people plus the resource allocation for PPE that was wasted, and we wouldn't have had homeless people. And the homeless situation gets worse. It's getting worse. So I'm very passionate about that, and a lot of people connect with me on that. A lot of people connect with me for the fact that I had anxiety and depression growing up. I had suicidal ideation every day up until I was 24. A lot of people connect with me because I came through my own sexuality process, right? Of like being bisexual. A lot of people connect with me because my parents weren't around a lot when I was a kid. Like they were there for sure, but they were like hustling. They were working, right? They weren't present. So a lot of people could connect to you for many different reasons. Work out what those reasons are, or work out what journey, like what stages of transformation you come through in your life, and then post it. Like some people, you're gonna like this is the problem with branding. I got really confused with my branding because I would see other people and it would look really designy, really flashy, and I was like, oh, I want mine to look like that. And like, yeah, I like to have an aesthetic pull to my Instagram, but I was like, I'm not that person. That's not me, right? There are other things that make me, but like that, like sort of branding, just it's not my vibe. So you've got to do things that are in alignment with you, and then you're going to attract your crowd. Otherwise, you're going to work with people that are unaligned with you, and then that's not going to work, right? So the more I stepped into my authentic version of myself was the more money I made in my business. The more authentic I was to myself, like as soon as I started making skits on short form content with my social media, my business skyrocketed. So you got to look at it as like, how can I be more authentic in myself? Let go of the fear of the judgment, let go of the shame and guilt you have towards your past, and share that. Like, be brave. Like, it's scary. Like, it's scary being authentic because you're like, oh, people are going to judge me because you've been through some things. But I look at it as like, no, this is where I'm going to step into. This is who I'm going to be. Okay. And the third part that I think a lot of people struggle with as they're building things that work is, oh, you guys are often clients results focused like me. And with that, you're looking at it like, well, I think that one-to-one is going to maybe be more intimate, or group is going to be more intimate, and then I can be more authentic, but also have like scalability. So it can be challenging. And I'm going to give you an analogy. So like, firstly, both work. Both group and one-to-one both work. They also both don't work. And this is where I think people get things wrong, is they think that if I have one-to-one support, I'm going to get the support that I need to grow. But my experience before my current mentor is I went into one of the leading industry experts in this space, and I was assigned a one-to-one coach, and he was great initially, but after that, like after the first like week or two, he sucked because he had too many clients to manage, and that meant that I didn't get the support that I needed. Like I was trying to figure out my offer for like 4 months. No, that's such a lie. I was trying to figure out my offer for like 1 month. Whereas what we do as a group, I can help you figure that out in like 48 hours, sometimes even faster. Like some of our students do it within like 2 hours. So like within 48-hour time frame, but the actual work, 2 hours. And that's group based. And then I can give you one-to-one support after. So what I would say is both have worked and both have not. So what I have found has been best, at least for me, and let me run you through the different types of growth that I've done, just so you can understand like a lot of different coaching models. So the first thing that I ran through was a actual fitness transformation myself. So the first thing I ran through was a fitness transformation myself, and that was a one-to-one text support and then a weekly group call. So one-to-one text support, weekly group call. And that text support was through WhatsApp and Slack. And that was one of the best ever fitness and mindset things that I've ever came through. The second thing, I went to a very similar but slightly less expensive fitness coach, which was one-to-one chat and then a program, right? Which would just put P. And then also this one had a program. That was a pile of wank because the guy was egotistical and was extremely degrading in his coaching. The next thing that I did was I then did a business program, and that was over 1,000 students, which I was able to mentor as well because I did well. So that was cool. But that was group support, and then 3 one-to-one calls with one of their like assistant coaches. And that was good, but I feel like it would have been more helpful to have had more opportunity to go on a one-to-one call. The next thing, I then stepped into their higher level program, which was around $2,000 a month. And that was, oh, I also forgot. This one was 3 group calls a week as well, which were good, but you're thinking like you got 1,000 students on that. You're not getting a ton of time to have questions answered, and it was a lot of journaling, which is smart. I get it, and self-analysis, but it doesn't always get questions answered that you need to. The next thing that I did was step into that higher level thing, because I did well, like I said, which was 2 group calls a week, plus then you got one-to-one calls with their assistant coaches, and I think there was around 16 of us in that out of 1,000 coaches. And the problem was because this program wasn't good enough in order to get people into the next program. So I just call it how it is. So there was a lot of people not getting results. So it was like, I don't know what you want to work the numbers out of, but if you want to judge that as the success of the next program, but if we divide, so like what, 1.6% success rate. So Intel, great. But again, I'm a workhorse, so I get it done. The next thing that I stepped into was a one-to-one with a business coach. Now, this was amazing, and I also got access to some of her courses. So she was a type of coach that did like lots of different courses, and those are great. But in my opinion, if you're the type of coach that wants to build a new offer every single month, it means your original offer is not good enough because you're not getting referrals. We get referrals all the time. Whereas if you're constantly having to build out new offers, then those offers aren't getting iterated and improved in enough, when you could have just put all of those original offers into one thing and then sold everyone in that, because it works better from a systems standpoint. Like I said earlier, systems. The next thing that I stepped into was a mini course, which I'll kind of sub bracket because I did a few mini courses. I think mini courses are okay, but I think unless you're somebody that has a great work ethic and doesn't need accountability, they don't work. The next thing that I stepped into was a massive, industry leading expert. And to break this down a little bit, as much as I can, they have 15 assistant coaches. They also have 12 calls you can hop on a week, depending on what issue you need, which sounds good. I know it sounds good. And then they also have a community, but the community was atrocious. It was not a community. It was literally just post everyone for themselves. And then they have a course as well. And the course was the most robust course that I've been in. But when I'd say it was extremely robust, but it was too overwhelming. So for example, just the sales modules itself was a good 20 hours-ish of training, which is a lot of training to then implement yourself. So I do know people come through that and were successful. I know a lot of people that have come through that and completely refunded. And then there was another little one that I did here with some accountability specific coaches that was 20-minute accountability calls a week. And then it's sort of like one group training a month. That was more, I would say, low ticket. And these other ones were all high ticket. So in terms of you're thinking, okay, there's all these different ways to build a coaching business. What have I found works best? What I found works best is, once you're at scale, is having something like we do. So we have a one-to-one implementation call on startup. Oh my gosh, these pens. One-to-one implementation call, which is 60 minutes. And then we're typically going to do another 60-minute call once somebody's been through the first 2 modules of training. So that could be within the first 3 to 5 days. And then after that, we probably do a call 10 days, which would be 30 minutes, and then probably 14 days and something like that. And then we also have 3 group clinics a week. And everybody gets 3 role plays, and they get quantitatively analyzed. So people actually do that. Now you're probably thinking, well, how do I remain authentic? And we also have an in-depth training portal. Honestly, you could just go through the training portal and get everything you need to make 10, 20, 30K a month quite happily. But obviously we offer the support alongside that. And then we also have check-ins, which is where I think a lot of people miss off. It's like, we don't let people suffer in silence, but at the same time, you also got a lot let yourself not suffer in silence, right, by going ghost. So this has been what we find works best, but I don't have a set structure. So if somebody needs more one-to-one calls, we'll do more one-to-one calls. And then we also will have an editor who will also edit our clients' ads. So remember, within the system as well, that we have ads, we have an editor that does our clients' ads as well. So that's the system that I find works best. And that's after being in a ton of programs, like a ton of programs. Some of these have been group and have been good. Some of these have been group and not been so good. So this, I would say, was positive, but it was only organic content. The second one-to-one was great. So the second group that I went into and spent a good 18K on was not good, because there was no structure to the calls. It was really like whatever the mentors felt like teaching each week. The next thing was the one-to-one with a coach, which was great. There was a structure at the start, but I didn't like doing the multiple courses all the time because I was burning out creating new courses and new programs rather than just focusing on one program and taking that to $1 million. The mini courses were good, but again, they lack accountability. And then we've got the accountability program, which is really good for like just that short niche of accountability. And then we've also got the big time program, which I've spoken to some people who said it was good, and I've spoken to other people who said it really wasn't that good. I was really disappointed. I'd heard a lot about this guy, and it just really didn't work out for me. So honestly, I feel like my process is the best, and I would say that because it's mine. But with the amount of iterations and support that all of our clients get, I genuinely feel that's the best. So yeah, in terms of what works best, when you're at the start, purely doing one-to-one until you got a process down, and then scaling that into a group model that would look a little bit like mine is probably going to be what works the best. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Those are kind of the 3 key points that I would say is getting yourself systems, being your authentic you by learning about your own character developments, overcoming your fear, and building know, like, and trust by being authentic in your content, doing skits, posting random stuff that you're up to, as well as educational content, and as well as your own story and your own mission. And then lastly is going from one-to-one and then going into a group space, because ultimately, like, in group space, it's kind of a blend, because if you're suffering in silence, that is your fault as a client. Your coach can only help you so much if you're irresponsible and unresponsive. So one of the best things that you can do is map out a model like this. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how you can map out a model like this, maybe you're in one-to-one now and you want to scale to group, or maybe you're looking to fill your one-to-one so that you can then scale to group, fill in a calendar link down below. I literally just click the link down below, book in a call with me, and we can see how that would look for you. Again, please only book that in if you're ready to go. Are you ready to get started? You watched a ton of my content, you're like, hell yeah, Luke, let's get going. If not, go and tune in to one more of my videos, go get a ton more value, learn some things, go get some clients, make some moves, and go change some lives. With that said, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, give this video a like, and I will see you in the next video.